Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition Small Business Live Forum. I'm your host, Dave Dadekian, a small business owner here in Rhode Island. We apologize for being a little late today. Our guest today, Cranston Mayor Hopkins, unfortunately had an emergency. That's what happens sometimes when we interview elected officials. That things happen, things pop up. But we're very happy to have the Director of Business Development, Economic Development, Business and Economic Development in the city of Cranston, Franklin Paulino. Franklin, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me here. Welcome, to this beautiful city, Cranston, Rhode Island. And we're here, to talk about small business and the opportunity that we have and the resource that we have and grant programs that we have in the city of Cranston.
Fantastic, because that's certainly something we need to discuss. I've got a bunch of questions here and some stories from members that'll be very useful. Speaking of members, if you're out there, you want to know more about the Small Business Coalition, it's rismallbusiness.org. And if you're watching this on Facebook right now and you have a question for Franklin, please put it into the Facebook chat, and we'll get to that as we go through the show. So, Franklin, let's dive right in. You're the Director of Economic Development. How do you feel the city's current and future outlook is in regards to economic development? Give us an overview.
Well, the city is looking pretty good. We have projects that are going to be coming in. First of all, we're working on the first project is Rhode Square, and where we are paving the street, putting new trees, new lighting. That project is almost done. We're also working on Patuxent Village. That's in the east side of Cranston. We just repaved the street again and did the sidewalk and the handicap work on it. And after that, we are moving to Knightsville, which is the part of Cranston Street and Park Avenue, which, we're going to be working also there to revitalize that area in Knightsville.
As someone who grew up in Cranston, I hear all these names and it takes me right back. And all three of those areas that you named are great hubs for small business. I mean, Ralph Square, obviously, there's lots of great little shops there. I used to remember going to Durfee's hardware store as a kid.
Durfee's hardware store.
Yeah, lots. And what is, since we're talking about that area, and it is such a large part of that area, what's the current status with the cinema there, the theater?
The current scene of Parkview Theater, they're doing an auction, and right now it's in the negotiation with some developers. So that's probably going to be coming out. They should be doing some closing, and then after the COVID, they should be reopening it up again.
That's good. It's good to know. I mean, I think anchors like that are very important to the other small businesses around it. Patuxent Village, I think it serves itself very well with small businesses. And I've seen the paving going on. I was at a client's over there recently, and they were shut for a day, but only a day. And that was they weren't shut. They just were inconvenienced for a day, let's say. And I think that's great to see that the construction can go that fast. That Right.
Yes, the Department of Work, they did a great job, seeing the situation with the festival that they have and pushing it over. So, the vendors and the patrons, they were enjoyed, and business will not be disinterrupted.
Right. No, that's good to hear. And of course, Knightsville is Little Eatery. I grew up right there, so that's nice to hear as well. Lots of great Italian restaurants and more in that area. So good to hear about those areas. So let's talk about new business. Let's talk about attracting new small businesses to the city. What are your plans for that, and how does that work?
Well, as you know, Cranston is like in the top 50. Best city in the United States, and a lot of people, a lot of business, they want to come into Cranston. One of the things is our inventory for rental space and leasing is minimal right now, because a lot of business, they want to stay in Cranston, and the retention is great. As you know, in Garden City, they're going to be opening 8 new stores, and that's very good for us. And people are coming in and they're looking for rental space. And, our inventory is very low at this point.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, Garden City is an interesting example. I know there are a lot of large businesses in there as well, a lot of large corporations, but I have seen some inroads and some growth there with small businesses as well. I have some from friends who own restaurants that are, small Rhode Island-based restaurants and not large chains. So it's nice to see something like that can still make its way into an area that is such a central shopping hub as Garden City. That's good to hear.
Mhm.
One of the things we've talked about a lot on this show with some of our previous guests, this may or may not be a question for you, maybe more geared towards the elected officials of the city. But we've been talking a lot about the American Rescue Plan and the ARPA funds, and how each city and town are getting an allocated amount from the federal government. And I don't know if you know, or if maybe, like I said, maybe this is a question that we'll have to ask at another time. Do you know of any plans with the ARPA funds, specific for small business, what we can do for small business with those funds?
Yes, here in the city of Cranston, through the Community Development Program, we actually have 3 grants going right now in the city of Cranston. One is for $1,000, and that's to cover the COVID supply, which is disposable gloves, tissue, paper towels, trash can, hand soap, sanitizer. And you could get reimbursed if you have your documentation and the receipt. You could get reimbursed up to $1,000 on that grant, and we are processing that. And we have a sufficient fund for that to cover a lot of small business in the city of Cranston. And then we have another grant which is that ranges between $2,000 and $2,500 to $7,500. And that one is technically for jumpstart, job creation, retention of job, and technical assistance and financial assistance to the small business. That's what we have in that part, in those grants we have. And there's another program through community development, which is for small business, which is the rent relief. You could get up to 3 months or 6 months of rent on that one.
Is that only applicable to rent, or can people who own their building and have a mortgage use that as well?
I believe that's had with the mortgage also. For small business owner.
That's good to know. I spoke with a small business owner yesterday in Cranston there, Stefania of Stefania's Boutique on North Avenue in Cranston. And unfortunately, she's been having a really tough go of it. I mean, her business is specifically to do dresses, formal wear.
Dresses and wedding and prom gown, yes.
Well, specifically to schools, to school, proms and to winter balls and to homecomings and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very difficult for her. Obviously she was pretty much shut down for a year and a half, and now she's still facing issues with some schools canceling those events. $1,000 is good, or it's certainly helpful for COVID supplies, and $5,000 or $7,500 is helpful as well. But when you have a monthly mortgage and overhead and all those things, and your business is not. It's not through any choice of hers that she doesn't want to have these events and have dresses for these young women to go to these events.
Yeah, the thing with that business is she's fallen into a business that's really affected by the pandemic and the school regulation that they have. That's up to the state. The mandate and the protocol they have. So she's in a tough business. In the pandemic, I think. She's like one of the toughest business that, to survive, she has to really, we don't know where, get funding for her business. Additional
funding.
Well,
if you do have any ideas, if you have any thoughts, if there are resources available through more funding from the federal government, it would be great to reach out to her and to let her know. I'll certainly connect her with people at the state level. That's what the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition does. We offer those types of services for our members. We are working on technical support for our members, so we'll certainly connect at the state level. But if there's anything at the city level, it sounds like it's a great business for the city, and hopefully there's something can be done to help her out there.
We have helped at a lower level, but she's going to need additional help. We could do what we can here at the city to help her, but she's going to be needing additional funding or additional grant. She's going to have to just see where she's going to get some more capital funding.
Yeah. No, I know she's told me she's got the first the economic injury disaster loan, Idle. I don't want to say idle loan. It is a loan in the name, but and I know she's looking for the second as well. But loans aren't necessarily the best solution in a case like this, where the problem is definitely out of her hands. But thank you. It's good that we can acknowledge it and talk about it. All right. So looking at more of the questions here we have from members, a lot of the questions are about permitting, applications, streamlining, things of that nature. How does Cranston work with those types of situations? What is the process for permitting and regulations, things like that? And how has it been streamlined for small business?
Yes, well, they have to come to City Hall and apply at the city clerk. And, they should apply for the right permit. And we just take it into the process and trying to do as quickly as possible so they could open the business, and we do the ribbon cutting. So we try to expedite, the permit process as fast as we can, but due to COVID, there has been some restriction in the workload of it, and it's when it comes to getting the permit.
Does Cranston use the viewpoint system that I've used with other cities and towns?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, that's good to know. Is there are you really the point person for business development, business liaison, or is there a small business liaison in the city?
No, I'm the point person for that, and we also have the community development, which is another department that we have that also do help business, but they funded it to us.
Okay. So if you're essentially the business liaison, what is your contact info that we could put out here for people to know how to get a hold of you?
Franklin Paulino, Economic Development Director for the City of Cranston. My email is fpaulino at cranstonri.org, and we are 869 Park Avenue, and my phone number is 401-780-3166. 401-780-3166.
Thank you very much for that, Franklin. And as you can see, Ben very ably grabbed those things and put those on the screen for everyone. And we'll put those in the chat as well for people to reach out to you. So some of these questions are specific to the mayor about government, things of that nature. But let's talk about because you can tell us certainly. Excuse me. What do you think Cranston offers small businesses that other cities and towns in Rhode Island don't offer?
Well, Cranston is a safe city. Our service is very good. Our streets, like I told you before, Rhode Square, we just redid Rhode Square, with the paving in the street. If you go see it, it's wonderful. Patuxent Village, as you can see, we are working in that stage. And we have a great restaurant, Italian restaurant in the area of Knightsville, and Western Cranston is beautiful. And we also have another part of Cranston, which is Oakland Ave, in which they have a lot of small shop, restaurants, little restaurants. And, Cranston is a good city. And then you got to see what we have in Garden City. It's spectacular. And also Chapel View. Cranston is a great city to live and to come shop also.
Very, very good point. Thank you. I think we should also talk about, we talk about those areas that you just mentioned are great retail hubs and retail and restaurant, things of that nature. But there's, it is a big city, as you mentioned. What do you feel about small businesses in other parts of the city, like in the western end, where there's a lot of open space, a lot of industrial parks, things of that nature? Is there good growth there?
The development there, it'll get there eventually. It's a residential. You got to see it's a residential area in Western Cranston. The zoning there, it's not much commercial, just like on the main street, Plainfield Pike, Situate, Comstock, that area. It'll take time, but business they are moving in. They like business like coming into Cranston. We also have a big surge in the area of the borderline, in Ward 1, Ward 2, and Ward 3. In that area, Providence and Cranston, there's a movement there of a lot of people looking for a retail space to move in.
Makes sense. That is, yeah, I can see the growth there. Absolutely. So before we wrap up with you, Franklin, Ben, do we have any questions from Facebook? Anything on the Facebook chat for us to go to?
No. Nope.
No. All right.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Franklin. We really appreciate you stepping in here today. I'm sorry that the mayor was pulled away by an emergency, but we appreciate your time today, Franklin.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anything you want to say to close up?
No, I'd just like to say that Cranston is a great city. You are more than welcome to do business, and we are ready to do business, and our doors are open for all the small business that want to come in and do business in the city of Cranston.
All right. Well, thank you. And as you saw, Ben put up Franklin's contact info again there on the screen. So we appreciate your being available for our Cranston business owners to reach out to. Thanks again for your time today. Cranston Director of Business Development, Franklin Paulino.
Thank you very much.
And before we go today, we're going to have the head of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition, Chris Parisi, join us. And he's going to tell us about a few of the things that are going on with the Small Business Coalition. Hi, Chris.
Hey, David. How you doing today?
Doing well.
That's great to hear. So I wanted to give an update not only on the coalition, but hot off the press, we just received an op-ed from our governor, Governor Dan McKee. It looks like 20 minutes ago from the Providence Journal, Governor McKee has released an op-ed urging the state to utilize some of those federal funds. This is something that I've been talking about often. Our small businesses need help. David, you just talked about a great example of a local small business in Cranston that needs that assistance because they were forced, schools to shut down, right? It wasn't her decision to shut down. What was it, proms, or was it homecomings?
Stefania's boutique, she specifically works with young women who go to, proms, homecomings, any winter balls, anything like that. And in this particular case, I mean, she said this to me when we talked on the phone. She's not looking for a handout. She doesn't want that type of a handout. But unfortunately, this is a situation where there's nowhere else to turn. It's not like she had any choice whatsoever in these events being canceled so that her client base disappeared.
Exactly. And I know Jennifer Ortiz has some examples as well that maybe we can get to if we have some time. And the point is that our small businesses need assistance today. We are the only state in the region that has not used any of that federal funds, over $1 billion with the B that we have received. We're the only state. So the governor, looks like he just dropped the op-ed in the Providence Journal asking for a 10% down payment. And that 10% down payment, by the way, after they spend that, they'll still have $1 billion to spend.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But if we do 10% on a down payment to small businesses, affordable housing, and childcare is what the governor has proposed. I think that's brilliant. We completely support that. We need to get cash and funds into the hands of small businesses through the form of technical and financial assistance. We urge the General Assembly to follow that as well. I know that they're meeting this afternoon, the House and the Senate, and discussing and looking at what other states are doing, because again, all the other states are doing it. We're the only one that hasn't yet. So we certainly support the governor's position in this op-ed, and we look forward to the General Assembly coming together and allowing us to use some of this funds, because we have one of the highest rates of recovery in the country. Not something that we normally hear. Rhode Island, we're usually the last ones to recover.
Right. Very true.
If we don't keep the pedal to the metal, and we don't utilize some of these funds, we're going to lose the momentum and gains that we have received through our high vaccination efforts and all the other efforts and economic development efforts that the governor has been doing. So right off the press, we support this, and everyone reach out to your representatives, to your senators, and urge them.
Yeah. I think that's the key there, Chris. I think the key is, I can understand the General Assembly wanting to have some oversight over this $1 billion this time around. That they sort of let the former governor Raimondo run all the previous funds herself, and for good or bad, that that's how it worked. And so I can see that they want to have some oversight, but then they've got to move on it because, you're right. It's sitting there. The state received these funds a couple of weeks ago. As you mentioned, other states around the country are using these funds at a rapid clip because they're needed. And if the General Assembly wants to have some oversight and not allow the governor's office to manage these funds, then they got to start moving on it. And I agree. I think those 3 points that the governor makes are extremely vital, especially childcare. I don't think people realize how much childcare can affect small businesses. If you're a small business owner, a single small business owner, or even just a few employees, and you have to, take care of your children because you don't have any other option, that really impacts a business. You can't, as someone who has 2 daughters, they're older now and I don't have to worry about it as well. But when they were younger, you can't really work when your children are with you. You want to take care of them. That's what your role is as a parent. So I think that's a great point, and hopefully we can get these funds out there and into the hands of small businesses to help them, because there's not really any other solution at this point.
No, there really isn't, and we're providing input based on what our small business members are saying in the coalition, and providing it to Commerce, to the governor's office, and they can do what they want with that intel, and that's why it's important to be a member of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition, is because we're only as great as the members that make us, and we can only provide the intel and information from the feedback that we received. We have a lot of great engaging members from all different industries through all different communities in this state. And that allows us to get a great pulse of what's going on in the small business community, and together make a big voice for our small businesses.
Exactly. No, our members are key. I mean, it's not good to hear Stefania's story by any means, but it's good that we're aware of it, and it's good that we can get that story out there and to the folks. Hopefully, Cranston Mayor Hopkins will at least see the show and hear about her problem, or Franklin can tell him about it. Also regarding the ARPA funds, if you've watched previous shows, we've asked other members, other mayors about what they're doing with the funds in their cities. We've asked other members of our CODEL, what sort of funds are coming for the federal government. And we do have Speaker Shekarchi coming up on, October 19th. Our next guest is October 5th with Congressman Langevin. And on October 19th, we have Speaker Shekarchi. And then November 2nd, we have Senator Rhode. So, keep sending in your questions. We want to ask the questions you want to hear asked. So please send them to us. Let us know what it is we can ask the folks that you want to hear. Yeah,
they're not going to get too many forums to have this direct access to a U.S. Senator, our U.S. Representative, our House Speaker, Shekarchi, who has been a supporter of small businesses as well. This is a unique forum, so we urge all small businesses to join these calls every other Tuesday at 12 and put your feedback, put your questions in. And as always, you can email us at info@rismallbusiness.org and let us know any thoughts, ideas, and questions you have. We get them all the time. We love them. We act on them. So again, Ben has just put up the email comment, and we also have Jennifer Ortiz here, another key member of our board. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to add in, I have added to our agenda Mayor Lombardi on November 16th. And excellent. I want to put it out there. We also have Mayor Picozzi December 7th. We only have 2 slots available for the rest of the year. If there's any mayors or elected officials that we haven't had on our show that you would like, please send it into the email. Who would you like to see on our show, or who would you like to see what city represented, along with your questions, so I can try to book them on our show.
Actually, Jen, it looks like we got another key member of our coalition, Diane Miguel, saying, ask the city of Warwick. So
Warwick.
Maybe we can get the mayor or economic.
We do have Mayor Picozzi on December 7th. So
that is Warwick. Yeah, he's December 7th.
Yep, we'll definitely be asking him some questions. Yeah, like I said, in 2 weeks from today, it's Congressman Langevin. I'm sure there are folks out there, small business owners out there, who have questions for the congressman. Please send them in. I'd love to ask him. I know for me, I'm going to be asking about the Restaurant Revitalization Fund and refinancing that. But there's a lot more, to be asked than just that, and things like that are key to these businesses surviving.
Yeah. please reach out to us. And please join the coalition.
Yeah, we have exciting things to come, a new membership portal as well, and we'll provide all that information as it comes out. In the meantime, ensure to register if you haven't by going to rismallbusiness.org and continue to engage with us so we can represent you and provide that big voice to our small business community.
Chris, I still do have a check for you from a new business I joined.
All right, that's great. Let's keep them coming. The
Excellent.
larger that we are, the bigger voice we can have.
Excellent to hear. Yeah. Yes. Please remember, as members, you can join for free, but there are tiered memberships for payment as well. So you'll help out the coalition by offering some payment. And I want to say, helping out the coalition, thank you to the two of you and to Franklin for stepping in today when the mayor of Cranston had to cancel last minute. That was unfortunate. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes with these elected officials. But hey, the show must go on, and here we did it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it happened to us last night. We had to cancel our show. I know some people reached out. We will be back in 2 weeks with our big group. Please join us. And thank you to Stefania, just gave shout outs.
Oh, great.
Great.
Fantastic.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Thank you very much for watching.